Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Did everyone can respond to me? Is that my voice is clear or not? All right, thank you.
Clear.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear respected speaker, Panor Sabrina Ahmad Gholib, ladies and gentlemen and members of the IIUM community, let's begin our program by reciting Kitab Al-Fatihah. آمين الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I'm delighted to welcome and express gratitude to all of you for joining Integrity Talk number 2 2025, organized by the Integrity and Governance Unit Management Service Division IIUM. For all attendees, please note that this talk can be accessed online through Zoom and live streaming on the YouTube channel of official IIUM. So far, we have around 87 participants at Zoom and how many at YouTube? Around 70 somethings on YouTube. Inshallah, the view will be increased later. For those who have not yet subscribed the YouTube channel official IIUM, please do so and click the notification button, like and share so everyone will gain the wisdom of knowledge. I would like to remind all participants to sign in your attendance and complete the evaluation form within 24 hours after the conclusion of this program. Please also drop your question in the chat box so that we can discuss it at the end of the session. I'm Murni Manshurdin, your host live today, and I'm thrilled to be with you today, of course, virtually. Thank you for joining us today from the previous Integrity Talk number 1 2025. We learned about the thing we let it slide. So I believe that today's talk's title, Understanding the Role of the Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment, highlights an issue we must not overlook or take lightly. In a time where workplace safety and human dignity must be upheld without compromise, the role of the legal and institutional mechanisms is more critical than ever. So today we aim to unpack how the Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment, established under the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022, plays a vital role in ensuring justice, accountability, and protection for all individuals, regardless of gender or background. So whether you are a policymaker as an employer, a civil servant, or simply someone who believes in fairness and respect, so understanding this tribunal's function is a key to building a safer and more inclusive environment for all. So many of us are still unsure about how the tribunal functions and how it differs from other reporting channels. So let's begin this session with open minds, ready to learn, reflect, and empower change. So Alhamdulillah, it's our privilege to welcome our distinguished guest speaker, Puan Nur Sabrina Ahmad Gholib. So, esteemed guests, please allow me to brief a concise of our biography of our speaker. So, Puan Sabrina is currently serving as the Federal Counsel at the Tribunal of Anti-Sexual Harassment, a position she has held since March 2024. She also holds a Bachelor of Laws and Legal Studies from University Technology, Mara, and brings with her 8 years of experience as a legal counsel. So previously, Puan Sabrina served as Federal Counsel at the Department of Irrigation and Drainage, Malaysia from October 2016 to January 2021. So where she provides legal advice in diverse areas of law, including construction law, contract law, and administrative law. So she then joined the International Affairs Division of the Attorney General's Chamber in January 2021. So serving until February 2024. So during this time, she represented the government of Malaysia in various international meetings and negotiations related to free trade agreements. So she also was also responsible for advising on and reviewing draft agreements to ensure compliance with Malaysian law. So with this, I respectfully invite Puan Sabrina to deliver her talk. Please give her a warm welcome.
Assalamualaikum. Can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes,
Hello.
yes.
Assalamualaikum. Can everybody hear me? Yes, okay. Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all the virtual attendees for today's program. Okay, to cut short, my name is Sabrina Binti Ahmad Gholib. I am one of the legal advisors in the tribunal.
Oh ya, betul. Okay, nampak.
Okay, is it okay? All right. So today I will be sharing with all of you briefly what is the tribunal all about. So when I say tribunal, our name is Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment. To cut short, we call it TAX, Tribunal bagi Anti Gangguan Seksual, as we are well known. So currently we are fully operational from 8th March 2024. So around 1 year, 1 year and a half in operation. So within those one and a half year, we have received many types of complaints, which I think I will be sharing some of them during the talk. Okay, so let me just share the slides for today. All right. So, okay, so can you see the slides? Can I get a response?
Yes, Puan, can.
Okay, all right, good. All right, okay, moving on. To easily understand what is the tribunal all about, I divided it into these 4 points. So basically, tax is an alternative channel to the courts to specifically handle sexual harassment complaints expeditiously and in a simple manner at a minimum cost, for the victim to take action against the perpetrator and to obtain compensation for the losses suffered by him or her as the result of the said act. So what I want you to understand is that we in the judicials, in the legal area, okay, if there are 2 types of courts there. We have civil courts, we have criminal courts. Okay, so tribunal is a quasi-judicial body. We handle civil any civil claim, specifically on sexual harassment complaints. Okay, so to make it simple, if you are one of the sexual harassment victims, if you feel like you want to obtain a compensation from the perpetrator, you have two places that you can go. One is our tribunal, another is the civil court. Apart from that, you can also go to the police and make a police report. So what the police will do later on is that they will do their investigation, and then later on they will present the paper to the deputy public prosecutor. And if the DPP is satisfied that there is a case against the perpetrator, then they will bring the case to the criminal court. Okay, so for criminal court, there will be tried, and then the end result will be they might go to the prison. Okay, so for us, we don't we just find out whether there is a sexual harassment or not. So if there is a sexual harassment, then the panel can give certain awards to the respondent. We call them respondent. We don't call them perpetrator or defendant here in this case. Okay. All right. So to break it down, we handle sexual harassment complaint expeditiously. So what that means is that after you file in your form with us, there are 2 forms. for the public to know. We have 8 forms altogether in the rules, but the most important form that the public must know is only 2, which is Form 1, Complaint of Sexual Harassment, and 2, Statement of Defense. Okay, complaint for sexual harassment Form 1 will be filed by the complainant, basically those who suffered sexual harassment. Okay, and then secondly, Form 2 will be filed in by the respondent, so those who made the act of sexual harassment. Okay, so after both forms has been filed, the tribunal will set for a hearing. Okay, what expeditious here means from the day of the first hearing until the 60th day, the tribunal must make a decision. All right, so the tribunal shall make its award where practicable within 60 days from the first day of the hearing. Okay, so basically, the difference between tribunal and civil court might take some time for the court to make a decision, because there are so many external factors that they have to take into account. But for the tribunal, it is set in the Act, Section 19 to be exact, in the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, for the complaint, for the tribunal to make an award 60 days from the first day of the hearing. Okay, and then second point is simple. As I mentioned earlier, the complainant in this case, they just have to file one form, which is Form 1, Complaint of Sexual Harassment. And then at minimum cost, the only cost that you have to incur with the tribunal is the filing fee, which is 30 ringgit for Form 1, and Form 2 is 10 ringgit. So the complainant here has to pay 30 ringgit for the filing fee, and then later on, when the respondent wishes to file their defense, they have to pay 10 ringgit. All right. So again, the difference between the tribunal and the civil court. The civil court, you might all the parties involved with the case, they might incur more cost. For example, lawyer fee. Okay. And then it is an alternative forum for all, meaning that we don't discriminate. Okay, any one of you who has suffered sexual harassment, be it with anyone, we don't discriminate on age, on races, and whether you are an expatriate or not. We do have a case between the nationals from other countries outside of Malaysia. They are the complainants, and some of them are also the respondents. So any cases that happens in Malaysia, you can come to the tribunal and make a complaint. Okay. And then it is a closed hearing, meaning that during the hearing, we call them hearing. Again, the difference between the tribunal and civil court is that for civil court, the case will be handled in an open court. We call them open court. So anyone can come during the trial. Okay, we call them trial. But in tribunal, we call them hearing, pendengaran. Okay, so the situation where the hearing will happen, we will go in a room. Okay, only 3 of the panel that will be hearing the case, and then 1 complainant, 1 respondent, and then we have our urus setia, juru bahasa, we call them. Okay, that is the staff of the tribunal, and also the witness who come, they have to come in the room one at a time, meaning that only interested parties who can attend the hearing will be in the room for one moment at a time. For example, if you are a wife, your husband cannot accompany you. You as the wife will be the complainant, and then the respondent might be another person. So in the room, you have to bear in mind, there will be only 3 panels, 1 complainant, 1 respondent, 1 witness that will be called one at a time, and also one of the staff of the tribunal. Okay, so there is no issue on security or privacy here. All right. Okay, next. Okay, this is important. What is sexual harassment? This is explained in Section 2 of Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. Okay, basically, it is an any unwanted conduct of sexual nature in any form. We have divided into 5. Okay, whether it is a verbal, non-verbal, visual, gestural, or physical. Okay, bear in mind, or with just because you are seeing the type of sexual harassment here, it is divided. It is we have categorized it verbal, non-verbal, visual, gestural, and physical. But then in any sexual harassment act, we cannot just simply say that, oh, I have just been harassed verbally only. It might happen where the sexual harassment contains more than one type of sexual harassment. Okay, so verbal can be with physical. For example, if you are in a room, I will make an example which is maybe closer to home. Okay, so if you are a student, for example, you wish to have some sort of a private moment with your lecturer. So the lecturer invites you to his room. Okay, private consultation time. Okay, so during in the room, you are not comfortable with the lecturer. Maybe you are a girl, the lecturer is a man. Okay, so you enter the room, you specifically ask for the lecturer to open the door. But then the lecturer refused. He said that you have to close the door because this is a private session. So one comment there, one of the feeling that you might get at the moment is that, of course, you are uncomfortable. But then coupled with when the lecturer asks you to sit down, and then he uncomfortably, you feel uncomfortable when he's standing behind you. Okay, so and then he or she might hold your hand during that time, and whilst he explaining to you, whilst he telling you on what you have to do during certain assignments, he made some sort of uncomfortable comments saying that, oh, you look beautiful today, you smell nice. Okay, since he's standing behind you, so he can smell you. So you might feel you are being sexually harassed, but what form? So one, they might be verbal, physical, of course. So if you face these things, you can come to the tribunal and make a complaint. Okay, we understand that sexual harassment is sort of a taboo thing in our society. Taboo to a point that maybe that is a sexual harassment, but then it is so natural to occur. We might not think that we want to file a complaint, because sometimes when we tell other people, he or she might say that, alah, dia pegang je kan. So but then if we look into the definition of sexual harassment, if you feel that is an unwanted conduct, the act of slapping one shoulder, just a simple act, but then there is an unwanted conduct, falls under a physical form of sexual harassment, then you can come to the tribunal and make a complaint. Okay, don't normalize sexual harassment. Okay, next, and then this is what I have been what I have explained earlier. Who can file a complaint? It is any person, irregardless of age, irregardless of race, irregardless of nationality. So meaning that, for example, if you are Indonesian, if you suffered sexual harassment in Malaysian soil, then you can come to the tribunal and file a complaint with the tribunal. Okay, so in one and a half year of operation, we have received so many type of complaints. Okay, from, I think the youngest age is around 16, 17. Oldest is above 65 years old. And then we have also received complaints from a respondent who is orang kurang upaya. Okay, so we received those type of complaints. So there is no discrimination. you can come to the tribunal and file a complaint with us, and we deal with each complaints in case by case basis. Okay. All right, next. Okay, this is the composition of the tribunal. We divided it into two to make everyone understand. First is the tribunal itself, the physical office. So those who are in the tribunal right now is the president, deputy president, secretary of the tribunal, and officers and staff. Okay, I am one of the officers in the tribunal. So another is the members of the tribunal. Okay, the president and deputy president in the tribunal right now can be the members of the tribunal, members of the panel. They will be one of the panel that will hear the case, that will hear the complaints that is filed with the tribunal. Okay. The president, our president, is an alumni of IIUM. She was once before coming to the tribunal. She is a sessions court judge, handling various cases. One of it is crimes against sexual crimes against children. Okay, and our deputy president is an alumni of IIUM as well. Previously, he was as a sessions judge as well. And prior to coming to the tribunal, he is actually the deputy public prosecutor serving at Johor. Okay, so both of our president and deputy president are very well versed with sexual harassment cases outside. Okay, so they come with that skill set. Okay, so other than that, not less than 5 other members. So currently we have 8 other members who are members or who have held position in the judicial and legal service like me, or persons who are admitted as advocates and solicitors. Okay, so currently we have 8 other members who have currently served more than 7 years as advocates and solicitors. So these 10 members of the tribunal will act as the chairman or the chairperson during the hearing. Okay, and then we have other 20 members of the tribunal who have knowledge or practical experience in matters relating to sexual harassment. Okay, so those other 20 members might not necessarily have the legal qualification, but they are members who have dealt mainly on sexual harassment cases in their own field. We have a police officer, we have lecturers, we have psychiatrists, okay, we have members of NGOs. These are the persons who are very well versed with sexual harassment issues outside. And again, they come and join the tribunal and bring their skill set to us. Okay, so they will use these skills in hearing every complaint that is filed with the tribunal. Okay, rest assured, if you come to the tribunal, your case, your complaints will be listened by these professionals who have dealt with sexual harassment most of their career. Okay. And next, okay, this is the jurisdiction of the tribunal. Okay, so basically, we can hear a complaint of sexual harassment, which is subjected under Limitation Act, of course, which is limited to 6 years from the date of the sexual harassment. So basically, these 6 years, since we are only in operation about 1.5 years, so the first issue is not a main concern, but the second one is important because I have mentioned earlier, we are fully operational. We went fully operational on 8th March 2024. So the tribunal is only empowered to listen to sexual harassment complaints that happen, incidents that happen after 8 March 2024. Okay, so if you wish to come to the tribunal and you come to our counter, one of the first main question that you have that the staff will ask you is when does the incident happen? If it happens before 8 March 2024, then we will advise you to make a police report. and also to refer to any advocates and solicitors out there for you to file in a civil case. Okay, but if it happens after 8 March 2024, then you can file a complaint with the tribunal on the condition that you haven't filed any case in the civil court. Okay, so if you have any civil proceedings before, if you have initiated any civil claim against the respondent, then you cannot file a similar complaint with the tribunal. So you have to choose one in order for you to, if you have been harassed, okay, then you have make a police report. Once you make a police report, then the police will bring the paper to the deputy public prosecutor. The deputy then will bring the case to criminal court. But at the same time, you wish to get some sort of a compensation from the perpetrator. So you file in a civil claim at the civil court. So once that happened, you cannot file a civil claim with the tribunal. Okay, so you have to choose which one. All right, next. Okay, complaints can be filed right now at the counter aduan at Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita, Keluarga dan Masyarakat. So for now, we only have physical counter, which is at Putrajaya. But any of you who live outside Lembah Kelang, or you have difficulties to come to to Putrajaya, just make a call at 15999. This is Talian Kasih. You can call Talian Kasih and ask to be directed to TAX, Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment, ataupun Tribunal bagi anti-gangguan seksual. Then the staff there will guide you on how to file a complaint via post. Okay. Again, we have received complaints not only from the Lembah Kelang area, but also Sarawak, Sabah, Johor, Perak, Melaka, and etc. All right. We have actually successfully heard a complaint at Sarawak, Johor, Perak, and Melaka. So it is not a hindrance. For example, if you live in Pahang, you have been sexually harassed by your lecturers or whoever, you can call the tribunal and ask what are the steps that you can take to file a complaint with the tribunal. Okay, so don't feel that it is difficult to file a complaint. Okay, even if you live in Pahang, we can come to Pahang, and we will conduct the hearing there. Okay, we have conduct hearing at Sarawak, Johor, Perak, and Melaka. So it is not a problem for us to come to you to get the justice that you deserve. All right. Okay, and then next. Again, this is important. I have previously I have given a talk at various places. I have met with various NGOs, and they use this term that I think is very important. They call sexual harassment victims, not victims. They call it sexual survivors. Okay, so these NGOs they are trying to change the mentality, the mindset of these sexual harassment victims. They call them as survivors. So that is the mentality that you should have before filing a complaint. Okay, I understand it is difficult. It is something that involves with your integrity, with your marwah. Okay, so it involves something which is deeper, which is embedded in you. Okay, so if you feel shy or embarrassed, it is understandable. But then if you wish to make a stand, take an action, take an active role in controlling back your life. So you have to have this mentality. You are a survivor. The fact that you live after the harassment, it shows that you are a survivor. Okay, so before filing a complaint, try to gather as much evidence as you can. Evidence here, it doesn't mean a CCTV recording, it doesn't mean a video recording or any physical evidence. If you have those physical evidence, it will greatly it will give you a great advantage during the hearing. But if you don't have this physical evidence, it is suffice if you have tell anyone regarding the incident. For example, when the incident happened, you immediately tell your best friend. Okay, you immediately tell your parents. So your friend, your parents can be one of the witness during the hearing. All right. Okay, so what these people, what these witnesses can bring upon the panel is maybe your mental state before or after the incident. And this panel, they search for consistency, meaning that if you tell the incident to anyone, make sure to try to remember as much detail as possible. I know it hurts, okay? But then again, have the mentality of a survivor. So you tell these witnesses, okay, possible witnesses on what happens from A to Z so that they can tell the panel what actually happened to you during those times, okay? All right. So what happens before filing a complaint? Again, as I mentioned before, you can come to our counter to file a complaint. Then they will do a screening process. Okay. Some of the things that the staff will assess is the date of incident and whether the same complaint has been filed at the civil court, and they will check the limitation period. So for now, since we are just 1.5 year in operation, so we don't check on the limitation period yet. But then these two main points is important, which is the date of the incident and whether the complaint has been filed at the civil court. Okay. And then, as I mentioned, if the complaint happened before 8 March, then they will direct you to these other alternative channels, which is Royal Malaysian Police, Jabatan Bantuan Guaman, if you are not able to hire any advocates and solicitors. Okay. All right, next. Okay, this is the process of filing a complaint. Okay. Again, as I mentioned earlier, complainant will file in Form 1 at the counter, or if you are outside of Lembah Kelang or you are incapable of coming to the counter, then these are the things that the staff will tell you. You have to file in Form 1 in 4 copies and pay a filing fee of 30 ringgit. Okay, this is what will happen if you are at the counter. So you come to the counter and then the staff will ask you to type in Form 1 at the computer station at the counter. Okay, so after you file in the form, the staff will print out 4 copies and then you have to pay 30 ringgit filing fee cash. Okay, so but if you file in via post, you have to print out we will send you an email with the instruction and also a copy of Form 1. All right, so you print out 4 copies, file in each and every copy of Form 1 and then post to us the form. Okay, so this is important. Okay, and then what are the details in Form 1 that you have to fill in? These are the things. Okay, time, date, place of incident, witness information, frequency, and types of harassment. Okay, again, it is not necessary for you to identify what is the type of harassment that you have faced. It suffices that you can just make it as a story. Okay, for example, on 1st March 2024, I was harassed by my lecturer. When I come to his office, he stands uncomfortably behind me and then frequently touch my shoulder. As he touched my shoulder, he frequently say things which makes me uncomfortable or which makes me feel unsafe. He said, Amira, you smell so nice today. Can you imagine what I will do to you? Okay, those sort of things. Okay, that is why I make a complaint with the tribunal today. Okay, simple. So the things that you have to fill in Form 1, you have to mention the date, time, place of incident. Witness information, you can tell the tribunal after you file the complaint. It is not necessary for you to put the names of the witnesses in Form 1. Okay. All right. Okay, after you file in Form 1, the form is to be served to the respondent by the complainant. Okay. All right. How the manners of service that the complainant can take. I understand when we said that you have to send a copy to the respondent, most of the complainants don't want to do so. Some of them said that, okay, saya dah tak nak dah file. Okay, I am not comfortable in seeing the respondent. Okay, I don't want him or her to harass me when I send the form to him or her. Okay, so again, these are the types. It's okay. It's not it is not necessarily you have to file it. You have to send the copy to the respondent. There are 3 types of service. This manner of services is provided in the rules for Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment. Okay. All right. There are 3 ways to serve the documents to the respondent. First is by hand. Second is by AR registered post. And third is by we call it in Bahasa Melayu is tampalan, but then okay, it is affixing the document at the respondent's last known address. Okay, so by hand, again, not necessarily you have to send in the form to the respondent, but then you can ask any one of your friend to hand in the form to the respondent. Okay, the supporting evidence, what you can show to us, to the panel, that you have successfully served from one to the respondent, is you can take an acknowledgement receipt, signature, official stamp, or photo of the delivery, and the date of service is important. Okay, I will tell you later on why. Okay, secondly, by AR registered post, you can go to any Post Malaysia office and then ask at the counter to get that yellow card. Okay, that is AR registered post. Okay, you can send in by post. And then lastly is by affixing it. Okay, the supporting document proof of service that you can use is that you can take a photo of where you affix the document at the premises, and then you send the proof, you send a copy of the photo to the tribunal. Okay, we take it as, okay, you have successfully served from one to the respondent. Okay, all right. Okay, so after you successfully serve the notice to the respondent will then have to file in Form 2. Okay, the time period is 14 working days when after the respondent receive the first Form 1. Okay, so after the respondent receive Form 1 from the complainant, they have 14 working days to file in Form 2, Statement of Defense, and then pay a filing fee of 10 ringgit. Okay, so again, we imagine the situation where this happens in Lembah Kelang, whereby the respondent is able to come to Putrajaya and file a complaint. Okay, so once the respondent receive Form 1 from the complainant, you check in the form, meticulously read what is included in the form, and then you can come to Putrajaya and file your statement of defense. Okay, so and then the staff will guide you on how to file in. They will ask you to type in Form 2 in the computer, and then they will print out 4 copies, and then later on you can pay 10 ringgit filing fee in cash. Okay, but if you receive the document by post and you are unable to come because you are living outside of Lembah Kelang, okay, so what you can do is you can call the tribunal and then ask what is the thing that you have to do. So later on we will email you a copy of Form 2, so, and with the instruction, so you can read the email, follow the instruction, and then post back Form 2 to the tribunal. Okay, for any form that is filed via post, the manner of paying the fee is different. Okay, so we will create an account for you to bank in the amount of filing fee. Okay, and then all copies of evidence can be submitted with Form 1 and Form 2 to support each complaint or defense. Okay, and the original should be brought during the hearing. Okay, all right, next. This is manner of service. Okay, so what are the things that you can ask from the tribunal. Okay, these are the tribunal after hearing the complaint and defense. Okay, if the panel feel like, okay, there is sexual harassment there, so they can make one or more of these following orders. Okay, first is respondent to issue a statement of apology to the complainant, or the respondent to publish a statement of apology to the complainant. Third is compensation or damages not exceeding 250,000, or for the respondent to attend any program as the tribunal thinks fit. Okay, so I will explain one by one. Okay, respondent to issue a statement of apology if you feel like it is suffice. For example, you have been sexually harassed via social media post. For example, the respondent posts something about you on Facebook, so you feel sexually harassed. You file in a complaint with us. The panel said yes, there is a sexual harassment there. So you ask in the form, you said that you want the respondent to issue a statement of apology individually. Okay, so it is suffice. You feel like, okay, I don't want to take this matter any further. It is suffice for you to just make an apology to me right now, face to face. Okay, so that is the first situation. Second, respondent to publish a statement of apology to the complainant. Okay, again, the situation is the same. You have been sexually harassed by a public post on Facebook. So you said to the panel, I want the respondent to publish a statement of apology via Facebook post as well. Okay, so the panel may make that award. Okay, they may ask the respondent to issue a public statement, public apology or via Facebook post. Okay, next is compensation exceeding 250,000. Okay, these damages and compensation may include any medical fee. For example, you have been sexually harassed physically, you suffered an injury, you suffered some bruise or cuts, so you go to the clinic, keep a copy of the receipt. Those can be used as evidence. Okay, or for example, you are very you have become depressed, you develop anxiety, so you go to a psychiatrist. So those fees that the psychiatrist give you, so keep the receipt and you can use that as evidence as well, or any amount that you think fit. Okay, so these are the things that you can justify to the panel. Okay, maybe you say that I have been sexually harassed in the workplace, so in response to that, I am not comfortable at the office. I take a decision to quit from the job and took another job. So I want a compensation from the respondent in forms of pay that I have missed, or some sort of a compensation to keep me before I get the next job, for example. Okay, so you can justify those amount to the panel. Normally the staff will say that yes, miss, you can ask a compensation from the respondent up to 250,000. Most of the complainant will put in the form compensation 250,000. Okay, even though the amount is 250,000, but you have to justify why you should get certain amount, why you should get 250,000. Maybe most of the case, of course, the panel will award lesser than that. Again, it is up to you to prove and to satisfy the panel hearing the case. Okay. And then if you feel like the respondent should go to a counseling session, for example, because you have been repeatedly harassed by this person, or this person, the respondent, has harassed another person as well. Okay, so you can make that, you can ask for the panel to make the respondent attend any program as the tribunal thinks fit. Okay. All right. Okay, this I have mentioned briefly before. Who can attend the hearing? Again, both parties to the proceedings have the right to attend to the hearing. Okay. And then A party who is a minor, as I mentioned, anyone can file a complaint, including a minor. Okay, so a party who, if the complainant is a minor below 18 years old, or any person with disability. I have mentioned this. We don't discriminate. We receive complaints from anyone, including person with a disability, may be represented by his friend or guardian ad litem. So what happens? We have received a complaint. The complainant, the respondent, is a person with disability. So we provide jurubahasa there. So we provide someone who can translate to the panel, to the other party. Okay, so you can just make a request to the tribunal, and we will get some sort of help. Okay, during the hearing. But if you are a minor, then you can ask. You can be represented by your parents, for example. So your mother or your father can attend the hearing with you during the hearing. Okay. And then, again, this is important. Neither party to the proceeding may be represented by a lawyer unless it involves complex legal issues. Okay, so I'm bringing you back to the earlier points that I mentioned. At the tribunal, we are an alternative to the civil court. We handle exclusively on sexual harassment issues expeditiously, easily, and at a minimal cost. Okay, so this is the point where I mentioned that, okay, it will cost you at minimum 30 ringgit or 10 ringgit, because you don't have to get a lawyer to come with you during the hearing. It is unlike civil case where you have to get legal services, so you have to pay legal fee, but not with us. Neither party to the proceedings may be represented by a lawyer. But if you feel like the sexual harassment issues involves complex legal issues, then you may ask the panel for you to be accompanied by a lawyer. Okay, so the legal fee shall be borne fully by the parties. Okay, again, if one party is permitted to be represented by a lawyer, the other party is also entitled for the same representation. Okay, and one of the things that we always remind for both parties, in the act, it does mention that you cannot be represented by a lawyer, but during the hearing, but there is nowhere mentioned that you cannot get any some sort of a legal advice before the hearing. Okay, so you may consult a lawyer before the hearing. Maybe they can consult on what sort of evidence that you can bring. So that is not illegal. What is illegal is what is not permitted is for you to be represented by a lawyer during the hearing. Okay, not prior. All right. So before the hearing starts, this is the responsibility of the tribunal. Okay, so once we receive Form 1 and Form 2 from the parties, we will set a date for the hearing. Okay, so once there is a specific date, we will serve a notice of hearing to the parties. Okay, so in the Form 3, we will state the day, time, and place for the hearing. Okay. And then before the hearing starts, the panel will ask both parties whether you want to negotiate for a settlement. Okay. We have a complaint where the panel asks whether you want to negotiate between the parties, and the complainant actually agrees. Said, yes, I have stressed this many times before. I don't want anything for the respondent. I just want the respondent to apologize to me. I just want a statement of apology from the respondent, and then respondent agrees. Okay, so what entails after that is the panel will start the negotiation process. All right, the panel will later assess whether it is appropriate for the tribunal to assist the parties to negotiate, and then if the panel feel that okay, we can continue with the negotiation, then they will set the term between them and approve and record the agreed term during the negotiation process. Okay. And then we go back. Okay, when the panel, that is a situation where the negotiation happens and it is a success. Okay, so what if the parties don't agree for negotiation? We will proceed to hear the sexual harassment complaint. So this the hearing process will commence after this. Okay, and then we always remind, the panel will actually say this before every hearing, and the staff will also remind each parties before the hearing that in the absence of parties, the tribunal may continue with the hearing even in the absence of any party to the proceedings. Okay, provided if the panel is satisfied that the notice has been served, duly served to the parties, meaning that if the tribunal can prove to the panel that we have actually sent the notice to the complainant and respondent, stating the date, time, and place, but then on the day of the hearing itself, for example, the respondent is not there. Okay, the panel can decide to just continue on with the hearing in the absence of the respondent or in the absence of the complainant. And this actually happened. Okay, so the panel will just continue with the absence of the parties, and then later on, they decide whether there is a sexual harassment happen or not. Right? Okay, so these are the hearing procedures. Each party have the right to present evidence and documents and call of witnesses to support their respective complaints and defense. And during the hearing, in civil cases, only one judge is presiding over a trial. But then, for the tribunal, we have three tribunal members, a chairperson, one with a legal background, and two other tribunal members. Okay, and then the tribunal will later decide to award or dismiss the complaint based on balance of probabilities. Okay, so these are the difference between civil and criminal cases. Okay, as I mentioned before, if you have been sexually harassed, you make a police report, and then later on that will be construed as criminal case. Okay, but if you want to get a compensation, then you will undergo a civil procedure. Okay, so for criminal case, the balance is actually higher. It is beyond reasonable doubt. Okay, but then for civil cases, since we are quasi-judicial, we adopt this. It is only on balance of probabilities. Okay, for civil cases, and then the tribunal shall make its award within 60 days from the date of the hearing before the tribunal commence. Okay, this award that will be issued by the panel is the same as court order. So if the respondent, upon receiving the award, okay, if you don't comply with any of the award, there are consequences. Okay, please bear in mind. Okay, okay, all right. So what happens if the respondent refuse to comply with the award? Okay, so during the hearing, on the last day of the hearing, the panel have decided, okay, there is a sexual harassment. Please make a statement of apology to the respondent and pay 5,000 to the complainant. Okay, so the respondent, yes, during the hearing, he or she apologized. Okay, say, I'm sorry. Okay, I've done this sexual harassment, or maybe the panel will give some sort of a script for the respondent to say to the complainant. But then later on, there is another award whereby the panel instructed the respondent to pay 5,000 to the complainant within 30 days or 60 days, or however the time period that they mentioned in the award, to the complainant. The respondent doesn't comply to this. So what happens? All right. Again, the enforcement of award, the complainant has these avenues that they can go. The award is final and binding on all parties to the proceedings. It is deemed to be an order of court and enforced accordingly. And the award, the same award that you have received from the panel, may be filed in civil court for enforcement of judgment. So for this last point, you may get some sort of a legal service for them to file in the award to the civil court for enforcement of judgment. And failure to comply with the award, specifically on the respondent, basically you have committed an offense under Section 21 of the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. Okay, and the affected party may file a police report. Okay, so the consequences will be that you might be imprisoned. So, for example, if you don't comply with the award, the complainant may file a report with the police, and then the police will later on do their due diligence, do their investigation, and then they will be tried in the criminal court. Okay, and then later on they might be in prison, or they can or they will have to pay some sort of a fine, which is provided under Section 21 of the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. Okay, and if any parties to the proceeding is dissatisfied with the award that has been given to them, they can challenge that award. Okay, so they can actually apply to the High Court, challenging an award in proceedings only on the grounds of serious irregularity. Okay, so this will be handled by the parties themselves. The tribunal is no longer in the picture. So if you are dissatisfied, you can file application to the High Court to challenge the award. Okay. I think that's it. If there's is there anything that you want to ask me? I think you can they can post a comment, or how are we going to
Yeah.
there will be a Q&A session, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, so thank you. That's from me.
All right, thank you, Puan Sabrina, for such an enlightening and impactful session on the role of the Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment. It's been a meaningful and eye-opening conversation, one that reminds us of our shared responsibility to create safe spaces. So we are truly grateful for the time and energy you have shared with us today. So now we'd like to take some time to answer any question from the participants. So let me read the question from the Zoom. Okay, from Sister Nur Fatin Farhana. Madam, what if we file the complaint at tribunal and later we initiate civil suit? Do we need to withdraw the complaint?
Okay. With the tribunal later we initiate civil suit. Okay. So again, as I mentioned earlier, we are quasi judicial. We handle basically civil claim. So once you have filed in the complaint with the tribunal, later on you decided to initiate a civil suit, you may do so, but there is this issue on there is this the respondent may raise an issue that similar issues has been tried at the tribunal, so it could be it could raise a legal issue there. So I think before deciding whether you want to file a civil claim against the respondent, you really have to weigh in the pros and cons before you file in at either place. Okay, so before again, I might advise you to get a legal advice, weigh in the pros and cons before filing at tribunal or before initiating a civil suit case. If you wish to file in, if you wish to get a compensation right away, it's more than 250K. So obviously you cannot bring the case to tribunal. You may file in at civil court. Okay. And then if you feel like I don't want just a statement of apology is meaningless to me. So right away, you can get a legal advice and provide legal services to file in to get compensation at the civil court. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
All right. Thank you,
Yes.
Idam. So another question from Brother Muhammad Nasri. What about in the perspective of being accused to cause sexual harassments while the accused understands very well about it? How to encounter the accusation? Sometimes any audio visual recordings can be misinterpreted so as to the verbal communication.
Okay. All right. So this is what I mentioned earlier. Sometimes in our society today, we feel like it is so common for anyone to call anyone sayang, dear, or like sayang, jom pergi makan lepas ni. It is a simple, harmless, innocent statement. We feel like it is an innocent statement. But then it all boils down to what is mentioned under Section 2 of the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. Okay, so it is any unwanted conduct directed at a person, and the person who is being directed with these comments doesn't feel uncomfortable with the comment that you make, that can be construed as sexual harassment. I understand it is so common in our society today for us to call anyone sayang, dear, or just during when you hang out with your friends. It is unfortunately it is normal for us to be sitting very quite close with our companion, okay, with a guy or a girl. But then if the girl feels uncomfortable, it does fall on what is sexual harassment under Section 2 of Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. But as the accused, we call them respondent, okay? Accused is a criminal case. So if the respondent feel like you are being unfairly treated, you can say that before this, I call her sayang, I ask her to go on a date with me. She doesn't express some sort of uncomfortableness there. So why on this certain occasion that she said that this is uncomfortable? So that is for the respondent. You can raise that issue, you can raise that defense to the panel. For example, you have previous or WhatsApp conversation calling the complainant sayang, dear, and the receivee does not express uncomfortableness there. Okay, so that can be your defense. But then again, for any sexual harassment issue, it is very complex. This is a very sensitive issue. At one point, it could be other factor why the complainant doesn't say anything. Maybe the respondent is of a higher position than her. Maybe the respondent has some sort of an authority on the complainant. Okay, so on one instance, maybe the girl doesn't feel uncomfortable to say no. Okay, and then at one point when we are just so being bombarded with the words, with the term sayang, dear, at one point you don't feel comfortable, then only the complainant say, I'm sorry, I am not comfortable. You have to respect that. After the complainant said that he or she is uncomfortable with the term sayang or dear, or please don't ask me to go on a date because I am uncomfortable, then the respondent kept on issuing a statement like sayang, 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 dear. Alah, sebelum ni makan je dengan I, kenapa kali ni tak nak? So that falls under that can be construed as sexual harassment because the complainant has expressly said she is not comfortable. So after you have expressly said that you are not comfortable, then please stop using those statements, because that can be construed as sexual harassment under Section 2 of ASHA. Okay.
All right. We have a lot of questions in the Zoom. So we have a time, so it's okay. So another question is, Madam, what
Uh,
if the survivor is in trauma and can't face
mm,
the respondent? Can a
mm.
lawyer represent them? And can you define what is meant by complex legal issue?
Okay. So the first question is, okay, if the survivor is in trauma and cannot face the respondent. All right. We have this might answer your question on on how we handle this sort of situation whereby the complainant is in a traumatic state. He or she cannot face the respondent. Okay, we have a case. We have a complaint where unfortunately he is being harassed. She is being harassed by a family member, close family member. And then the respondent, the witnesses, he called the respondent called upon witnesses who are actually family members of the complainant. Okay, so the complainant here in this situation, she feels uncomfortable. She has anxiety. She cried. She refused to go to the hearing, to the room where the hearing is held. So what we did was we put a partition between the respondent and the complainant. So the complainant can only hear the voice, but then she cannot see who is behind the barrier. Okay, so because whatever it is, we have to follow what is written in the act and in the rules. Since the act and the rules has expressly said that the parties cannot be represented by any lawyer, we have to respect that. Okay, but then if you are in a traumatic state, we will try to accommodate you by putting a barrier. We will give you time to compose, because again, this panel hearing the complaints, they are very skillful, very experienced members of the tribunal. They will help you and guide you on how to bring your case forward. Okay, and then what is meant by complex legal issues here? Okay, we have one where the complainant asked the panel to be represented by a lawyer, but then because she said that the complaint actually it doesn't just happen from 8th March 2024. It goes way back. So it is complicated because they have relationship. It's between an employer and employee. But then as time goes by, their relationship evolves. Okay. So she mentioned that for me, that is a complex legal issue. I want to be represented by a lawyer. But then when we boils down to the issue, it looks like they have a relationship. So it is sort of a consensual relationship. So what is being said, what the respondent said to the complainant, basically it cannot be construed as sexual harassment. So she withdraw the case. Okay, and then it is not up to to us to say that one issue might constitute as a complex legal issue or not. It can stem from any extraneous circumstances to the case. Maybe it involves sexual harassment and sexual assault. Maybe it comprises of misconstruence of time, when the time period happened, when the sexual harassment happened or not. We have not expressly dealt with complex legal issues so far. Any complaints that has been filed with the tribunal, and then we go on to hearing. None of the parties have been represented by a lawyer yet. But then when this issue arises, I think the panel will handle them on case by case basis, and it's up to you to explain why you think that this is a complex legal issue. As I mentioned, it could be that there is extraneous legal circumstances. Maybe you feel that this is sexual harassment plus sexual assault. So you can bring in a lawyer lah, but then it depends on the panel whether they want to accept your argument or not. Okay, so it's case by case basis.
Okay, madam, thank you. Another question is, the award is within 60 days, so but the order will be announced on the date of hearing, right? So the
Mhm.
award is subsequent, not on the same day.
Okay. I will explain on how the hearing process works in light of the time period. Okay, so yes, the tribunal have to issue an award within 60 days from the date of the first hearing. So what normally happens is that, for instance, we set the date for the hearing on 14 April 2025. So that is the first date of the hearing. So we count 60 days from 14th April 2025. 60 days is about two months. It is 2 months, kan? Okay. So it is not necessarily that from the on the first day of the hearing, there is a decision. Normally, it will take around for I think at maximum so far 5 session per complaint, meaning that within those 60 days, we will conduct five hearing sessions. On the fifth day, only on the fifth day, the panel will issue the award. Okay, so long as the decision was made during the 60 days period from the first day of the hearing. Okay, so it is not necessarily, so far there is no award, no decision was given on the first day of the hearing. Normally we will have a few sessions before the panel will come up with a decision. Yeah.
All right, madam, based on your experience, what if the complaint actually entails the harassment but later feel uncomfortable? Does that constitute harassment?
Okay. Again, these are the things that the panel will look at it extensively. What is important for the complainant? Again, before filing a complaint, you have to gather your thoughts. You have to really look at the situation. You really have to assess the situation. If you feel like again if you feel like the harassment does fall under section 2 of the anti-sexual harassment act, okay, then you can file a complaint. But then again, the panel will the respondent will have the chance to give the defense. Okay. Again, if there is a situation where the complainant actually entices the harassment, that could be a defense for the respondent. Okay, so the panel might not find that there is a sexual harassment happened there. It is a mutual relationship or whatsoever, but then again, there might be a situation where along those mutual relationship between you and the respondent, there is a point where you don't feel uncomfortable. There might be a reason where they might have maybe there is another issue or there is another experience or incident where you don't feel uncomfortable. For example, it is normal for you as a couple to in the relationship to call each other sayang, dear. Okay, so it might be that you are the one who asked the respondent out on a date, but then again, no means no. Okay. For example, during the date, the respondent might put a hand on your shoulder, and then suddenly you don't feel comfortable. So there is a shift of feeling there. Before the date, you do feel comfortable with the person. You call him sayang, you call him dear, but then during the date, during the incident, you don't feel comfortable when the respondent put his hand on your shoulder. So you just say no. Okay, because there are many types of sexual harassment. It's not just verbal, it's not just gestural, there is physical. Okay, so you can say that I don't feel physically comfortable when you put your arms around me, so don't do that. But then after you say that, you are not comfortable, the respondent keep on putting his hand on you, so that can be construed as sexual harassment. So you can say to the panel, I don't permit the respondent to put his hand around me. I just ask him to go out on a date to have a meal, not for him to touch me. Okay, so you can put forth that that as your to back up your complaint. But then later on, it is up to the panel to decide, because there is a complaint that has been filed with us. Okay, let's keep an open mind or when we discuss because sexual harassment is sexual harassment. Okay, so there is one complaint where the complainant asked the respondent to come to her house. Okay, so it is I think you can imagine what happened, okay, when we ask another person to come to our house. So things happen, and then there is another instance so that is the first incident. And then the complainant asked the respondent to come to her house on second day, and then on third time the complainant asked the respondent to come to her house. The respondent did something to her that she is not permitted, that she doesn't permit the respondent to do. She filed a complaint with us. The panel heard the case, and then the panel decided there is no sexual harassment happened because there is an instances where you have voluntarily ask the respondent to go to your house and do the same thing similar to on the day of the incident. Okay, for example, you ask your boyfriend to come to your house. You have physical relationship with him, and then next week you call your boyfriend to come to your house. There is a physical relationship happen, and then on the third day, maybe you just want to hang out with your boyfriend, but then your boyfriend want a physical relationship with you. He forced himself on you, so you make a complaint. The panel might look at the situation. There is instances you have invited your boyfriend to the house. You guys did have a physical relationship. There is no sexual harassment happened there. So this is what happened. This is how the panel look into the complaints, into these complaints. Okay, again, it is a very difficult issue. I want to stress here that again, sexual harassment is a very sensitive. It is not black and white. It's not black and white, and the panel might look at each complaint case on case by case basis. It is up to you to prove that you are not comfortable. What actually happened to you, what the respondent did is sexual harassment. Again, we want to stress that the tribunal does not represent any parties to the complaint. We don't represent complainant, we don't represent the respondent. So what happens when a complainant file their complaint with us, there is also a respondent who filed in their defense. So we will say the same thing to both parties. Bring forth any evidence that can support your complaint and bring forth any evidence that can support your defense. Okay, again, it is up to you on how to represent your case. You can always consult with a lawyer before the date of the hearing. Okay, all right.
Okay, if the complainant is a student, is there any guarantee the case will not affect her or his academically? What if the lecturer fail her course?
Okay, this is a very complicated issue. Again, we have received a complaint from a student against a lecturer. The student asked one of her friends who are also a student of the lecturer to be her witness, and the friend refused because of this comment. Okay, because of this reasoning lah. okay, because she's afraid that the lecturer will feel her cause. Okay, look at incident. Let's look at the sexual harassment incident again, case by case basis. This is a case where a student is being harassed by a lecturer. So what the student can do is, there are a few avenues that you can go to. Okay, look at yourself as a student and look at the harasser as a lecturer. Okay, so you can bring the case to the police and make a police report. You can go to the tribunal or civil to get some sort of a compensation. And at the same time, you can go to your university's management office to take action to make a complaint against the lecturer. Okay, I'm sure every university has some sort of a procedure to handle sexual harassment by a lecturer. Go for every avenue. I will advise these sexual survivors to go for every avenue. You want to have some compensation, you go to tribunal, but then at the same time, to protect yourself, please go to your management, to every university's management office, file a complaint against the lecturer. I'm sure there is some sort of a procedure on how to handle, on how maybe there is a policy to transfer you to a different class or a different lecturer. I'm not sure. But then, to answer your question, I cannot guarantee, obviously, we cannot give you a guarantee that that your act of filing a complaint with the tribunal will not affect your grade. But then, what you can do is, at the same time, go to your university and make a complaint so that they can protect you there. The tribunal cannot protect you outside, but maybe your university can. I'm sure there is some sort of a procedure to handle this sort of situation. Okay, all right.
All right. When Form 1, okay. What will be a good defense against sexual harassments? Might it be from a male or female co-worker?
Okay. So then how to present defense? I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
What will be a good defense against sexual harassments? Might it be from a male or female co-worker?
Male or female co-worker. Okay. Again, I will let's look at it as a case by case basis. You are working at the same place. Okay. You're working at the same place. When you are sexually harassed, go to the police. Okay, make a report. Go to the tribunal or civil court to get some sort of a compensation. And you can actually go to your HR management and file a complaint against that person. I think last week I have attended, I was one of the speaker, which in a video on a seminar, what is the name of the seminar? Yeah, seminar on understanding and handling sexual harassment at the workplace. So for every company, they have to have some sort of a handbook to handle sexual harassment cases. Okay, it is provided under the Employment Act for the employer to actually handle any sexual harassment complaints. They have to do department investigation, and then they should have a procedure on how to handle sexual harassment complaints between employees, or maybe between one person with the boss, for example. One of the things that the company did was, when there is a sexual harassment complaint, they ask the complainant to work from home. So I think that's one of the method that the HR used to prevent more sexual harassment happen there. Okay. that is between the workplace. Let's hope that your company have a strong HR and strong policy on handling sexual harassment cases. For tribunal, unfortunately, we cannot interfere. But what you can do is that, again, in any situation, if you have evidences, that will greatly give you an advantage, okay? But then if you don't have any evidences, tell anyone, go to your HR, and hopefully your company can have some sort of a policy to handle sexual harassment cases. For example, maybe you can ask to work from home, or create some distance between you and your coworker. Okay.
All right. Madam, when Form 1 is served, how do we protect the complainant from respondent?
Okay. As I mentioned, there are three ways, there are three manners of services. You can ask your friend to give the form to respondent by hand, or you can send the document via AR registered post, or you can just affix the document to the respondent's last known address. All right. So in the complaint form, there is no information. There is no information on the complainant. Okay, meaning that there is no information on the address. I think one of the things that you might want to hide from the respondent is your address, right? So in the complaint form, there is no mentioning anywhere of your address. And then again, the tribunal doesn't have any power on how to protect, but then these are the things that we can ensure the safety of the complainant, whereby again, if you are uncomfortable, you can ask a friend, or simply as simple as you can just serve the form via AR registered posts. That is for sure way for you to have some sort of a distance between you and the respondent. Okay.
All right. Okay, madam, what if the complainant does not express he or she is uncomfortable?
Again, we look at the definition of sexual harassment. It is any unwanted conduct directed at a person. Okay, so if the complainant does not express, then the defense, the respondent might use that defense that the complainant does not express that he or she is uncomfortable. So that does not fall under sexual harassment, which is provided in the act. Okay, that could be his defense. But then maybe if he or she does not expressly say that he or she is uncomfortable, maybe read between the lines, okay? Maybe after you are being sexually harassed, if the complainant still feels that she is being sexually harassed, but then she doesn't say that she is uncomfortable, maybe by your body language, you keep your distance, you block his or her number, or you distance yourself, or you tell people that you are not comfortable with that person. Okay, but then again, if you feel like you are comfortable, please say that you are not comfortable, because one person might not perceive what he or she did to you as a harassment, because sometimes people just don't understand. Okay, so let's have that survivor mentality and say that you are not comfortable, to avoid this gray area that might affect your complaint later on.
Right. Question from Brother Muhammad Haikal. Madam, thank you for your insight. Questions. What are the further avenues available to the complainant should be tribunal panel decide not in favor of the complainant?
Okay. Again, if you are dissatisfied with the award, with the decision that has been given by the panel, you can go for you can file a case in the High Court, challenging the award. You can challenge the award at High Court. Okay. But then if the panel does not, okay, if the panel doesn't doesn't decide in your favor, you can go for civil avenues. But then I would advise you to consult with a lawyer, because the defense by the respondent might be that this issue has been tried 2 times. Okay, that could be his defense. So please consult with a lawyer. I think the most reasonable thing for any dissatisfied parties to do is to challenge the award at High Court. So that you can use that avenue. Okay, or maybe maybe sometimes maybe the panel does not find the case in your favor, but then the police in their investigation might have some sort of evidence that you missed, or for example, so you can file you can hope that you have different outcome in the criminal court. Okay, if you find that the civil does not vote in your favor. Okay, maybe in criminal court the judge might find it in your favor, who knows. Okay.
Yeah, I'm working as a medical radiographic technologist. It is common that some procedures will involve minimal physical contact with the patients, despite there is a companion at present. So the explanation is always given before the procedure. However, at some places, I was told by senior outside IIUM that some patients complain the worker is committing the sexual harassment despite not touching the body parts.
Okay. I think there was a hot debate out there when at one point, it is not one point, I think it's still happening right now, where women who are giving birth does not want male doctors, they want female doctors, right? Okay, so but then in the medical field, it is hard for the medical practitioners not to have some sort of a minimal contact with you. Okay, some procedures do require the medical practitioners to touch you. For example, a mammogram, they have to conduct some sort of a physical examination on you. Okay, again, that could be your defense. If there is a complaint has been filed on you, that could be your defense. I am a medical practitioner. It is hard for me not to touch the patient. I am not, I don't have a built-in X-ray in my eye. I cannot see what is wrong with you without me physically touching you. Okay, again, as anyone who is sick, I don't think that should be in your mind when you are asking for help by any medical practitioner, because again, in any situation, we have to have some sort of a common sense. Okay, if you go to the doctor, of course, they will have some sort of a minimal physical examination. But then again, we do have a case, of course, we do have a complaint where the patient filed a complaint against a medical practitioner because she said that the doctor has conducted other physical examination which is not related to what she is facing right now. Okay, she said that I have a little bit of a medical background. I am sick. Yes, I went to the hospital. I went to the hospital to get an examination. But then this medical practitioner has conducted an abnormal physical examination. Okay, he touches my breast. He asked me to pull down my pants. He examined my lower body area, when I only have physical discomforts on my upper body area. Okay, so again, it is a case by case basis. I cannot say that the minimal physical contact does not constitute as a sexual harassment, because again, it is a case by case basis. You as a medical practitioner will have your defense. Okay, again, our panel is a very skillful, is a very experienced members of the tribunal. They will adjudicate the complaints as at best of their abilities. So always come up with your defense, and make sure that whatever physical examination that you have to do is by the book. Okay, all right.
Okay, madam, the question is from YouTube. In today's office environment, a man might feel like a thorn among roses. If a man feels harassed by his female colleagues, can this be considered sexual harassments worth of reporting?
So, sexual discrimination does not discriminate between genders. If you are a male and you feel like you are uncomfortable with any situation, gather evidence and come to tribunal to file a complaint, because we are at a society now where we are aware of our legal rights, and we have various acts that can protect those interests, that can protect your rights. Again, at the tribunal, we only concern on whether if you have been we will always look at the definition of sexual harassment in section 2 of the act. Any unwanted conduct by way of verbal, non-verbal, physical, gestural, visual. Okay, so for example, if you are one male in a female dominated area, okay, maybe you have some WhatsApp group. Okay, in that WhatsApp group, the female your female colleague send some very uncomfortable stickers. You know, we do have those stickers. Okay, kan? So be very wary on where you use those stickers. If you know that the situation will cause some sort of a discomfort, please stop. Okay, and you as a as the male colleague, you can say that you are uncomfortable. Expressly say that you are not comfortable. But then, if the situation persists, if it continues to happen, then please come to tribunal and make your complaint. We will look at any complaint on case by case basis. Okay, and again, we do not discriminate between genders. Okay.
All right. Okay. Last question from YouTube. Is there a hotline or online system to report sexual harassment? Is sexual harassment just on women?
Okay. As I mentioned before, you can call Talian Kasih. Okay, the Ministry of Women, Community, Family Development have this one hotline where we always use. It is 15999. You can call this number, and then if if you want to file a sexual harassment complaint, the operator will directly direct your call to our office. Okay, and apart from that, if you are uncomfortable of talking with an operator, you can email to tribunal at care.tax@kpwkm.gov.my. I can type the email at Zoom at care.tax@kpwkm.gov.my. So please email to this address, and then we can go from there. Okay, we can guide you on how to file a complaint. All right, and then lastly, what is the question?
The question is, Is sexual harassment just on women?
Okay, again, as I mentioned, sexual harassment can happen to anyone, and we at the tribunal, we do not discriminate between genders. We have received complaints. We do have received complaints, plural. We do receive complaints from men as well. Okay, so man against man. Again, if you feel like what happens to you falls under the definition of sexual harassment under Section 2, please come to the tribunal and make your complaints, and we will go from there.
All right, madam. This question is from me. It is my curiosity actually.
Okay.
You mentioned about the filing a complaint, right?
Mhm.
So for the form 1, we need 4 copies, right? And need to pay 30 ringgit. But for the form 2, the respondent only paid 10
Okay.
ringgit.
Yes. Sorry.
So
Okay. Okay.
I wondering actually during the talk you given,
Mhm.
maybe I supposedly I just answer it by myself, maybe because later on the respondent will get compensation, so maybe okay lah, berbaloi lah.
Okay lah. Okay lah.
In your opinion lah,
Okay.
madam.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I will answer this in two ways. Okay. Personally, I feel that the reasoning behind that is to encourage this respondent to file in their defense. Okay. So at least during the hearing, the complainant is not blindsided on what the respondent will say later on. Okay. If we want to have a talk about this a deeper conversation, okay, again, the hearing might go on without the respondent even filing form 2. There is a situation where the respondent refused to file form 2. He said that I don't want to file form 2 because in the act mentioned that regardless of whether the respondent file form 2, then the hearing can go on because the panel has that discretion to move on with the hearing, regardless of whether the form is filed or not. But then certain panel will compel this respondent to file in a report. Okay, so maybe psychologically, we hope that even if there is a complaint is filed against you, you have to pay lesser than what the complainant has to pay. Okay, it is not an excuse for you not to file in your report. Okay, it is just 10 ringgit. We do have that difficulty in getting the respondent even to pay 10 ringgit. So can you imagine if their filing fee is 30 ringgit, I think they are a bit more reluctant on what. And then another way of answering this is, it is not my power. It is what is stated in the act, so we just follow the act lah. Okay, that's it. I think, but then psychologically, I think maybe they want to coax this respondent to file in their defense. Just pay 10 ringgit. You don't have to pay 30, just pay 10. Okay. Macam tu lah, I think. Okay.
Okay, madam. Okay. Another question, madam. Can you share what normally the award by the tribunal? Is it high or low?
Okay. The threshold is 250,000. We do have numerous complaints whereby the complainants has received compensation. It is not up to 250,000, of course. As I mentioned, you do have to prove the reason why you are entitled to get the amount that you ask for. Okay. But then I can say that since the hearing is closed, it is not like normal court. It is not like the court whereby every award that has been given by the court is registered. It is public. It is a public document. But then for tribunal, since it is a private, it is a closed hearing, so we don't disclose the award to the public. But what I can say is that normally the tribunal will look at the seriousness of the sexual harassment. If the sexual harassment involves humiliation on a media social on a bigger scale, and it also involves physical humiliation, physical abuse, okay, they will take this into consideration and they will give an appropriate amount. I think one of the reported amount what has been given by the tribunal, whereby the respondent have to issue a statement of apology to the complainant. The respondent also has to undergo a program that will be handled by the ministry. Apart on top of that, the respondent has to pay 60,000 in compensation. So I think for that is the highest. Okay, but then again, I have to remind you, it is on a case by case basis. We cannot dictate the tribunal itself. We cannot dictate what the panel has to give the complainant on how much the compensation that they should get. It is again, it is all up to the panel on how to assess such damages.
All right. Actually, I have a lot of question for
Okay.
myself lah. But
Okay.
let's see. We choose the one question, I think, because we will end the session in a few minutes. So let's say a company does not take any action even after repeated complaints of inappropriate behavior by a supervisor or superior. What roles can the tribunal play in this case?
Okay. If we look at a working in a private area, if you look at the context between employer and employee, any relationship between an employer and employee, it is governed under the Employment Act. Okay, so in the Employment Act, they just introduce one section whereby the company has to take an action against sexual harassment complaints. Okay, the tribunal itself, we cannot assert any authority on this company, but you can bring this case to the industrial court. Okay, to the industrial court or go by Jabatan Buruh. Okay, raise this issue. It is an offense. It is against what is stated under the Employment Act. Okay, again, it is a special section just for the employer to handle sexual harassment complaints. So it is actually against the law if a company refuses to take action against any sexual harassment complaints. Yeah.
Okay, I think last question. Last questions. In your opinion, what barriers might prevent someone from bringing a case to the tribunal, and how can we, as a society or workplace, help remove them?
Okay. I think one of the barriers is so again, sexual harassment is very taboo. It involves your dignity. It involves relationships. It involves your future career. Okay, so I think if we look at a smaller context, which is any incident happens between the family, of course. Again, we do receive complaints from all, it's across races, across relationships. We do have received a complaint between between a niece and an uncle, okay, between in-laws, okay. So what motivates this person to just go file in the report is for them to get some sort of a control in that area for them. Okay, so a barrier might be because we live in a society whereby dignity is one of the most important thing in our life. Okay, most families prevent these sexual harassment victims to file a complaint because again macam bawa malu lah dekat family kan. So but I hope that this will not be an issue because again Anti-Sexual Harassment Act provide a very wide range of interpretation on what is sexual harassment. So again, don't normalize sexual harassment. Don't normalize on just calling people sayang dia, making people uncomfortable, making uncomfortable jokes. Because I think we should live in a society where everyone is comfortable around each other, and this act is actually a tool that can be used by sexual harassment victims to gain some sort of a control and to make this uncomfortable joke not a normal occurrence anymore. Okay, and then one barrier might be an issue of authority because again, if if the incident happened in a workplace between you and your boss, it is quite hard for you to make a complaint. But what I can say is that some companies have put in their policy whereby if you have a complaint, then they will ask you prior to the investigation and during the investigation itself, they will ask you to work from home to create some gap between you and the harasser. Okay, so that one of the tools that HR can use to prevent people from deciding not to file a complaint. Okay, and then as a society, if someone tells you that she or he is being harassed, don't downplay their story. Please don't, because these are the things that make people doesn't want to file a report, doesn't want to make a police report because they feel like if someone close to us doesn't feel that this incident is huge, that this incident is a serious incident, then what the police might think. Kan, if people who are close to you, if the people who you care about doesn't feel that that incident is a serious issue, then they might feel discouraged to go. I make a complaint. So let's not normalize sexual harassment, and then just really look on what is sexual harassment under Section 2 of the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. Okay, all right.
Right. Thank you, Madam. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we can conclude today's talks. 1 hour for session talks and 1 hour for answer and question is really a wonderful thing that we can do today. So, and one thing is clear, integrity is not just a value, it is an active commitment. The Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment is more than just a legal body, but it represents a national stand against silence, fear, and injustice. So each of us actually has a role in upholding dignity and respects in our workplaces and communities. And by understanding the tools available like this tribunal, we are better equipped to act with courage and integrity. So let's continue to foster safe, ethical, and respectful environments. So where everyone feels protected, heard, and valued. So before we end the session, I think let's take a photo first for memories in our lives. You guys can open your camera and please give your shining smile. All right, let's this youngest person to integrate it with this technology. So I will take the photos. Wait, So, so I go for the page 1 first. Wait. All right, we have around 5 page. Wait, I save. Is bear with me. I will work fast for this photo. All right, second. So now second page. Wait. Okay, Alhamdulillah, I think that's all for today. And once again, thank you, Puan Sabrina. And thank you all to all participants. And don't forget to fill up your evaluation forms. And thank you for attention for today and your engagement. And see you again. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.